She walked into the kitchen glowing, literally glowing, that pregnancy glow people talk about like it's magic. "Honey," she said, setting her purse down with a smile I hadn't seen in months, "we need to talk." I looked up from my laptop. I was reviewing quarterly reports for work, halfway through a cold sandwich. "I'm pregnant," she announced. Not nervous, not uncertain, triumphant. For a second, the world stopped. Then she added, "We're keeping it. I've already made an appointment with Dr. Morrison, 12 weeks along." 12 weeks? I set down my sandwich slowly. My brain did the math faster than my mouth could form words. 12 weeks ago, I was in Singapore for 3 weeks on a project I couldn't postpone. Before that, I'd been in Frankfurt for 2 weeks. I hadn't been home, really home, in the same bed, in the same time zone, for almost 4 months. I looked at my wife, at her smile, at her hand resting on her still flat stomach like she was already protecting something precious. And I said the only thing that made sense. "Congratulations! When did we last sleep together?" Her smile froze. The kitchen went silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator and the slow, terrible cracking sound of a marriage breaking in real time. What kind of question is that?" she whispered. I pulled out my phone, opened my calendar, scrolled back. Singapore, 3 weeks. Frankfurt before that, 2 weeks. Before that, Tokyo, another 2 weeks. I looked up. "So I'll ask again. When exactly did we last sleep together?" Her face went from glowing to pale in the span of a heartbeat. You think I'm lying?" "I think," I said calmly, "that biology doesn't lie, and neither does my travel schedule." She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, and that's when I knew. If you want to know what I found in her phone that night and how a paternity test destroyed more than just a marriage, hit subscribe, because what came next made her family wish they'd never called me a liar. My name is Nathan Cross. I'm 39 years old, and I'm a senior project manager for an international engineering firm based in Boston. My job takes me all over the world: Singapore, Frankfurt, Tokyo, Dubai, Sao Paulo. Wherever there's a major infrastructure project that needs oversight, I'm on a plane. I'm gone more than I'm home. That's the deal. That's what pays for the house in Newton, the cars, the life my wife wanted. My wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, is Claire. She's 36, works in marketing for a boutique firm in Cambridge. Remote work, flexible hours, the kind of job that looks impressive on paper but doesn't actually require her to show up anywhere. We've been married for 8 years. For the first 5, it was good. We traveled together when we could. We talked every night when I was away. We made it work. Then something shifted. The calls got shorter. The texts got colder. The "I miss you" turned into "When are you coming home?" which turned into "You're never here." I tried. I really did. I took fewer projects. I negotiated for shorter trips. I even turned down a promotion because it would have meant more travel. But it wasn't enough. Claire wanted a husband who was home every night, who coached Little League and mowed the lawn on Saturdays. I wasn't that guy. I never pretended to be. But I was faithful. I was honest. I sent money home. I called every night. I thought that counted for something. Turns out, it didn't. The pregnancy announcement came on a Tuesday. I'd just gotten back from Singapore the night before, jet-lagged, exhausted, barely coherent. I slept for 12 hours straight, woke up disoriented, and stumbled downstairs to find Claire making breakfast. That should have been my first clue. Claire doesn't make breakfast. She was humming, wearing a sundress, hair done. "Good morning," she said brightly, too brightly. "Morning," I mumbled, reaching for coffee. "How was Singapore?"
Hot, exhausting, the usual. She set a plate in front of me. Eggs, toast, bacon. The works. I stared at it. What's the occasion? Can't I make my husband breakfast? You can, you just don't. She laughed, nervous. Well, maybe I'm turning over a new leaf. I ate in silence, watching her move around the kitchen with an energy I hadn't seen in years. Then she sat down across from me. Nathan, we need to talk. Those 5 words, every married man's nightmare. I set down my fork. Okay. She took a breath, smiled. I'm pregnant. The world tilted. You're what? Pregnant. 12 weeks. I took 3 tests. I saw Dr. Morrison yesterday. It's real. I stared at her. 12 weeks. Yes. My brain started calculating. 12 weeks. That's 3 months. I'd been in Singapore for the last 3 weeks. Before that, Frankfurt for 2. Before that, Tokyo. I hadn't been home, really home, for more than a few scattered days in 4 months. When... I started, then stopped. Claire's smile wavered. When what? When did we... I couldn't finish the sentence. Her face changed. Are you seriously asking me that? Claire, I've been traveling non-stop. I'm just trying to understand the timeline. The timeline? Her voice rose. Nathan, I'm telling you we're having a baby, and you're asking about timelines? I'm asking when we conceived. I don't know. Does it matter? Yeah, I said quietly. It does. She stood up, chair scraping against the tile. I can't believe you right now. Claire, she was shouting now, I come to you with the best news of our lives, and you interrogate me like I'm a suspect. I'm not interrogating you. I'm asking a simple question. It's not simple. It's insulting.
I stood up too, kept my voice level. Claire, I've been out of the country for 4 months. I need to know when this happened. She stared at me. You were home in February. For 3 days, and we didn't... I didn't finish, but we both knew. We hadn't had sex in February. We'd barely spoken. Her face flushed. Well, maybe it was January. I was in Dubai in January. Then December. Frankfurt. She slammed her hand on the counter. I don't remember every single time we... That's the problem, I interrupted. There haven't been that many times to remember. Silence. She looked at me with something between fury and fear. What are you saying? I'm saying the math doesn't add up. So you think I cheated? I think, I said carefully, that I need an explanation that makes sense. She grabbed her purse. I don't have to explain anything to you. Actually, you do. No, I don't. She headed for the door. I'm pregnant, you're the father, end of story. Claire, the door slammed. I stood in the kitchen, staring at the half-eaten breakfast, and felt the ground shift under my feet. I didn't chase her. I didn't call. Instead, I did what I do best. I gathered data. I opened my laptop and pulled up my calendar. Every trip, every flight, every hotel check-in for the last 6 months. Then I cross-referenced it with our credit card statements, joint account, every purchase, every transaction. If Claire was 12 weeks pregnant, conception would have been around mid-January. I was in Dubai from January 8th to January 24th. I checked our home security system. We have cameras on the front door, back door, and driveway. Motion activated. I scrolled through January. January 10th, 8:47 p.m. A car pulls into our driveway. Not Claire's. A black Audi. A man gets out. Tall, dark hair, well-dressed. Claire opens the door. She's smiling. They hug. Not a friendly hug. A long hug. They go inside. The camera doesn't show what happens inside, but it shows when he leaves. January 11th, 6:23 a.m. He stayed the night. I sat back staring at the screen. My hands were shaking, not from anger, from clarity. I scrolled forward. January 15th, same car, same man, same overnight stay. January 19th, again. January 22nd, again. 4 times, in 2 weeks. While I was in Dubai, working 16-hour days, sleeping in a hotel room that smelled like recycled air and loneliness, my wife was hosting someone else in our bed. I took screenshots, saved them to a secure folder, backed them up to the cloud. Then I called my lawyer. His name is Richard Moss. I used him for contract reviews before. He was sharp, no nonsense, and expensive. "Nathan," he answered, "what can I do for you?" "I need a divorce attorney." Pause. "I see. What's the situation?" I told him. The pregnancy, the timeline, the security footage.
He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "Do you want a paternity test?" "Yes." "She'll fight it." "I know. It's going to get ugly." "It already is." He sighed. "All right, let me draw up a separation agreement. In the meantime, don't leave the house, don't move out. That can hurt you in court." "What about her?" "Let her leave if she wants, but you stay put. Understood?" "Understood." "And Nathan, don't confront her with the footage yet. Let her think you're just suspicious. The more rope she has, the more she'll hang herself." I hung up and sat in the silence of my own home, surrounded by evidence of a life I thought I was building. Turns out, I was the only one building. She was busy tearing it down. Claire came home that night around 10 p.m. I was in the living room, reading, or pretending to. She walked in, saw me, and stopped. "We need to talk," she said. "Okay?" She sat down on the opposite end of the couch, as far from me as possible. "I'm sorry I got upset earlier," she started. "This is a lot for both of us." I nodded, said nothing. "But Nathan, I need you to trust me. This baby is yours." "Okay?" She blinked. "Okay? If you say it's mine, then it's mine." She relaxed. "Thank you. But I want a paternity test." Her face hardened. "Absolutely not." "Why not?" "Because it's insulting. Because it shows you don't trust me." "You're right," I said calmly. "I don't." She stood up. "I'm not doing a paternity test." "Then I'm not signing a birth certificate." "You don't have a choice." "Actually, I do. If my name's not on the birth certificate, I have no legal obligation, no child support, no custody, nothing." Her mouth opened, closed. "So here's the deal. You take a paternity test. If it's mine, I'll step up. I'll be the father. I'll do everything right. And if it's not, then you can explain to whoever the real father is why you tried to pin it on me." She stared at me like a stranger. "I can't believe you're doing this." "I can't believe I have to." She grabbed her purse. "I'm staying at my sister's." "Okay." She left. The house was silent again. I pulled out my phone and texted Richard. She refused the paternity test. His response came immediately. "Good. Let her dig the hole deeper." Over the next 2 weeks, Claire tried everything. She called crying, she called angry, she sent long texts about how hurt she was, how betrayed she felt. She had her sister call me, her mother, even her father, who I'd always gotten along with. "Nathan, you're tearing this family apart." "I'm not tearing anything apart. I'm asking for the truth." "She's telling you the truth." "Then she won't mind proving it." He hung up. Her friends started posting on social media vague messages about toxic masculinity and controlling husbands.
I didn't respond, didn't engage. I just waited. Finally, 3 weeks after the announcement, Richard called. She's agreed to the paternity test. I exhaled. When? Next week. Non-invasive prenatal paternity test. They'll take her blood, compare it to your DNA. Results in 7 to 10 days. And if she tries to back out? She won't. I made it a condition of any settlement. No test, no negotiation. Good. Nathan, he said carefully, are you prepared for the results? What do you mean? If the baby's not yours, this is going to explode. Her family, your family, mutual friends, everyone's going to have an opinion. Let them. And if it is yours? I paused. Then I'll deal with that too. But deep down, I already knew. The baby wasn't mine. The test was scheduled for a Tuesday morning at a clinic in Brookline. I met her there. We didn't speak, just sat in separate corners of the waiting room like strangers. When they called her name, she stood up, looked at me once, and walked through the door. 20 minutes later, she came out, pale, shaking. They took blood, she said quietly. Results in a week. Okay. She left without another word. I sat there for a moment, staring at the generic landscape painting on the wall, and felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness. Just the cold, clinical certainty that comes from knowing you're about to be proven right. The results came back on a Thursday. Richard called me at work. Nathan, we need to meet. Just tell me. Not over the phone. I left the office, drove to his firm, and sat across from him in his corner office with the view of the Charles River. He slid an envelope across the desk. Open it. I did. The letterhead was from the lab. Official, clinical. I scanned down to the conclusion. Probability of paternity, 0%. I read it again. 0%. Not 1%. Not unlikely. 0. I wasn't the father. I set the paper down. So, Richard echoed. What do you want to do? I want a divorce. I want her out of the house, and I want everyone who called me a liar to see this. He nodded. I'll draft the papers. I didn't call Claire. I didn't text. I forwarded the results to her lawyer with a simple message. Your client lied. Proceed accordingly. Then I sent a copy to her father, and her sister, and her mother. Not out of spite, out of clarity. They'd called me controlling, toxic, a liar. Now they could see who the real liar was.
Claire showed up at the house that night. I was packing her things, methodically. Clothes in boxes, toiletries in bags. She walked in without knocking. Nathan, don't. Please, just listen. No. I kept packing. You lied. You tried to pass off another man's baby as mine. You made me the villain when I asked for the truth. I didn't mean you meant every word. I looked at her. You knew that baby wasn't mine. You knew it from the start. Her face crumpled. I was scared. Of what? Of losing everything. You didn't lose everything, Claire. You threw it away. She started crying. Who's the father? She didn't answer. Claire, who is he? It doesn't matter. It does to me. She wiped her face. His name is Jordan. He's married. Of course he was. Does he know? She shook her head. I haven't told him. You should. He deserves to know he's going to be a father. He won't leave his wife. That's not my problem. She looked at me, mascara streaked, broken. What happens now? Now? I handed her a box. You leave. The divorce papers will be filed tomorrow. You'll get what's legally yours. Nothing more. Nathan. Goodbye, Claire. She took the box and walked out.
I watched her car pull away and felt the weight lift. Not happiness, not relief, just the quiet, steady knowledge that I'd done the right thing. The divorce took 4 months. Claire tried to fight for the house. Richard shut it down. She tried to claim emotional distress. Richard presented the security footage. She tried to get alimony. Richard showed the timeline of the affair. In the end, she got her car, her personal belongings, and nothing else. The house was mine. The savings were mine. The life I'd built was mine. She moved in with Jordan, who, it turned out, did leave his wife for about 3 months. Then he left Claire, too. I heard through mutual friends that she had the baby, a boy, healthy. I didn't ask for details. It wasn't my story anymore. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I was in Tokyo for work. I met someone. Her name was Yuki. She worked for the client company, spoke 3 languages, and had a laugh that made the whole room feel lighter. She said, "You seem careful." "I am." "Bad breakup?" "Something like that." She nodded. "I understand. My ex-husband cheated. It makes you cautious." "It does." We walked in silence for a while. Then she said, "But you can't let one person steal your ability to trust." "I know." "Do you?" I thought about it, about Claire, about the lies, about the paternity test that confirmed what I already knew. "I'm working on it," I said. She smiled. "Good. That's all anyone can do." A year later, Yuki and I were still together. Long distance, but real, honest. She never asked me for anything except the truth, and I gave it to her, every time, because I learned something from Claire. Love without honesty isn't love, it's performance, and I was done performing. I still travel for work, Singapore, Frankfurt, Tokyo, but now, when I come home, there's someone waiting who actually wants me there, not for what I provide, for who I am. Claire tried to trap me with a lie. Instead, she set me free. If this story hit home, comment, "I'm free." If you've ever been lied to, if you've ever had someone try to rewrite your reality, if you've ever stood up for the truth when everyone else called you crazy, this one's for you. Hit subscribe for more stories about the quiet power of knowing your worth. Because the best revenge isn't proving them wrong, it's walking away and building something real.